Okay, log on, Abdou. There you are. Okay, I'll hang up.
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Oh, perfect. It looks like, let me just check. Tony has an issue. Yeah, I need to send him
Hey,
back.
Raj.
Hey, Raj.
Wait, Raj needs to share, right?
Hey guys.
How are
Hello.
you?
Hello.
Nice shirt, Ajay.
I said, why not? Yeah.
So let me just forward the link to Tony. It looks like he is struggling.
Tony's trying to get on. He has problems.
Yeah. Hey, Ajay, I saw you sent an email. I haven't opened the deck. I was in a meeting, so.
Abdou, you might want to. He's got all the questions in it.
Oh, I used the other one.
Yeah, it's more or less the same thing, right? I mean, I just
More or less the same. Abdou, remember that.
Okay.
Abdou, you make like Raj is moderating. Can you make him a co-host?
No,
Ajay is moderating.
I'm moderating. So you need to
Oh.
make.
Oh, AJ is.
Yes.
Right. I'm sorry, you guys.
Yeah.
I just got
Hello?
frazzled right before I opened this. My system crashed.
Yeah, let me forward you the Zoom link. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
Tony couldn't find the Zoom link.
Yeah. So let me just forward it to him.
Man, HR is not my expertise, so I'm going to try to keep it as generic as possible, and we'll look to Abdou to be the specialist in this.
That's the reason why I gave you guys enough time.
and that's when Ajay decided that he's going to change last minute all the questions.
I just want to make your life simpler, man. I mean, I just scripted everything for you guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it will be great. And Kathy, we'll be recording this, you said, right?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to do try to put it on a little our YouTube channel.
Sure, that's fine. And did you make me the co-host?
I tried to.
Okay.
Do you feel like your co-host? I also pinned you.
Yeah, it says the host isn't allowing multiple presenters sharing for this webinar. So you also need to give me the sharing privilege.
I'm sorry.
You need to give me the privilege to share.
I know, I'm trying, and I thought I did. Let me reclaim host. There we go. Okay, I'm making you host, AJ.
Okay, so it says you are the host now. Oh, good. Let me try. Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen? Can someone
Lovely.
Fantastic. Oh, great. Okay. Where did Zoom go?
Oh, it seems like I got it. I guess, Kathy.
Yeah.
I actually, Kathy, Dino actually seems like I get to the wrong place. Kathy, do you mind if I actually, I just forward a link one more time to me, because I'm joining by using Abdou's link, so I show my name as Abdou. Maybe I could change my change my name. Kathy, do you?
I'm working on it.
Okay, thank you. Ajay, Ajay,
How are you, Tony?
doing great, doing great.
Good.
All of you looking great, looking great. Okay, maybe right at the beginning, I just make a quick introduction, and then I will hand the token over to Ajay.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we are good. We are all set.
Yeah, exactly.
So Abdou, did you get to see the questions?
I just used the last ones that we reviewed, so
Oh.
I just go of that.
That's fine.
Oh, wait. No, Tony, I think you can change your name on it.
Okay, do you want me to change my name?
Yeah, just
Okay.
change your name on it. Go to
Okay,
the
got
upper right, and
okay.
it allows you those 3 little buttons. It
Oh,
allows you
got
to-
it, got it, got it.
There you
Okay,
go.
got it. Got it,
Hopefully it doesn't change Abdul's name. There.
got it. Awesome.
I can say it's my AI avatar.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Okay, so this looks good. Kathy, is
Good.
that good? This is good?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep, you got it.
got it, great. Yeah.
And now we're waiting on,
I think it's Yinghua.
So she goes by Yinghua or she goes by Michelle?
She goes by Yinghua in professional setting. That's what I was told.
All right. Okay. Guys, I will just be off video for a couple of seconds, okay?
Yes.
yeah, Tony, do you want to ping her? Because every time I go over and try to email, it completely slows down my Zoom. So I don't want to mess with the Zoom now that we're on a webinar.
Oh, I see. Let me actually see. So she should has already received
Yeah, just like everybody else did.
okay.
We got a couple minutes.
Yeah. Yes. Let me see. I just couldn't get it. It seems like I might accidentally delete the email with the Zoom link. Let me actually just respond because I don't have contact info either. I just only have her assistant info. Let me. They have a 4 or 5 assistant come working for him, I think.
Let me reply to the email that I sent earlier today. She has
Yeah.
his email to her.
Do you have the link, AJ? Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously you do. You're on it.
Yeah.
Okay, we have one attendee jumping on.
I just responded. I just sent an email. Let me see.
We are waiting for you. Thanks.
Oh, is there anything that you're planning to share online? You were asking the privilege to share.
Yes, I will share the slides that I sent earlier today, which you have not seen. So be ready for be ready
Okay,
for, yeah, be ready for the surprise.
we'll improvise.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Abdou is going to use AI to dynamically change the answers if he doesn't like your answer.
I actually, wanted to put in a joke there, so I put some images. Let me share the screen. We don't have anyone yet, right?
Yeah, I've got 4 attendees so far.
Okay.
Oh, we're starting to populate.
All right. So let me.
We got 1 minute to go, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Can someone confirm they can see my screen?
Yes. Yes, I could.
Thank you.
So Ajay, I think you're sharing your screen instead of just the presentation because we could see your. Assume that's intentional, right?
I'm just trying to figure out how to do that. Because I can only share a screen. Oh, okay. You know what? Let me do this. Let me do this.
Yeah.
Go back.
Let me see what's going on.
Share. Slideshow.
Hey.
Okay, what about now? Are you guys able to see the
Yep.
Yeah.
or just a presentation?
Yep.
Looks good.
And it's in a presentation mode, right? Not on the one on my left
That
side.
is right. That is right, Ajay.
Because I didn't wanted my notes to come up on the screen.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, they are all, but the assistant is, let me see if his assistant, Victoria, they should receive, why is no response?
Well, something must have come up, but it's 4:01. Tony, should we take it away? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Let me just wait 1 minute. Let me actually try quickly. See if I can.
Maybe I'm in like a waiting. There's no waiting room. Tell her if she wants, she can come in here. Okay, Tony, are you ready to open?
Yes, definitely. Should we start?
Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Corporate Talent in the Era of AI. Dr. Tony Zhang will do the introductions. Tony, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's CFA Society of Chicago's event. And I'm very glad to be here with all of you as we dive into a topic that is reshaping the workspace, the transformative impact of the AI on corporate talent strategy. And we are fortunate to have an outstanding panel from the industry coming up together. And let me actually quickly introduce the moderator and the panelists as well. And the first panelist we have will be Rajesh Paul, the Senior Director and Leader of Mobility at Microsoft, and Abdou Gueye, Talent Management and HR MMA Leader at Nvidia. And we are also having another panelist, Yinghua Zhou, Chief Data Officer at Nuveen, but she hasn't joined. Hopefully, she will be able to join us quickly. And we also are joined by our moderator, Ajay, Chief, I think, Headcount partner at Hitachi Digital Service who will guide us through this very important conversation. And together, I think they will explore how AI is influencing the corporate talent strategy, employee development, and decision making across multiple industry. I'm very excited to hear their insights on how we as professional and as academia can adapt to this rapid changing of environment. And thank you for joining us today. And now I'm going to hand it over to Ajay to begin the discussion.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Zhang. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege to welcome you all to today's panel discussion on corporate talent in the era of AI. My name is as Dr. Zhang said, my name is Ajay Thakur. I'm based out of New York. I'm a partner at Hitachi Digital Services, where I work with several of my clients, advising them on various technology strategies around cloud data and AI. So this, for me, this is more like, a run through, right, which I do it on a day-to-day basis. As Dr. Zhang was saying, we are thrilled to have an esteemed panel of experts today who will delve into the transformative impact of AI on talent management, strategic decision-making, and also ethical considerations within corporate environments. All right, so like this is a panel that we spoke about. So let's quickly delve into it, right? So let's, to get some context, right? So today we'll focus on 4 key subtopics that highlight how AI is transforming corporate talent strategies, like adapting to evolving workplace, talent management, strategic decision-making, and finally, we'll wrap it up with ethical consideration. Each of these areas offer insights into how companies can integrate AI responsibly while enhancing their talent management practices. Let's quickly get into our first topic, which is adapting to the evolving workplace, right? Since this is the AI discussion, so I thought, why not just get a AI-generated image for our subtopics, right? So as we all know, AI is fundamentally changing how roles are defined and what skills are necessary in a modern workplace, right? With the integration of AI in business operations, most of the companies are evolving. Employees must develop new skills to work effectively alongside various AI systems, and HR teams play a crucial role in preparing the workforce for this shift. So let's talk on how organizations can ensure a smooth transition from facilitating collaboration between humans and artificial intelligence to manage these various teams. So with that, why don't we start with Raj? Raj, do you want to share some best practices for ensuring comfortable collaborations between employees and various systems using AI?
Sure, Ajay. First, I'd like to thank the CFA of Chicago for this opportunity. I think we have a pretty diverse panel here. All of us come from different walks of life from a technology standpoint. So I think you'll hear very diverse perspectives as well. So my perspective will be more as a technology person and more as an end user as well. Maybe because all of us work in an enterprise, and then our HR systems are starting to leverage AI. So when you talk about the collaboration of AI and employees, I think all of us first should acknowledge that we're all getting into a world where access to relevant information is becoming a lot easier and simpler. It's not just outside the enterprise, but inside the enterprise as well, which means employers will start leveraging AI to increase the employee experience as well. I worked for many companies in my career. I mean, I'm sure all of you would have experienced the different experience, right from an onboarding experience to do the day-to-day experience when we deal with our enterprise systems and with HR in particular. So the first thing which comes to my mind from a best practice standpoint is transparency and building trust. Because when you introduce AI, I'm sure all of us will acknowledge that even within our own families, how AI is looked at is completely different, right? I mean, though AI has been there for a very long time, the last year and a half with Gen AI, the awareness and the adoption is a lot more because all of us carry smartphones, and I mean, both Apple and the Google ecosystem have been leveraging AI in the phone in some form or fashion. But we have got used to the phone part of it for quite some time now. But when it comes to now the enterprise and how we deal with our HR systems and from an AI standpoint, The first thing is, I think there's going to be complete transparency how our employer leverages AI in that regard, so that there is trust and then there's an adoption as well. The next thing which comes is systems are great, but if it doesn't get adopted and used, it's of no use. So which means I think in order to help that adoption, I think the employers and enterprise should focus on getting people trained and making them more comfortable with these new systems. I think I think is a pretty important thing when it comes to best practice. As with any new system rollout, getting early user feedback and building that feedback loop on getting that feedback and making the system better and better is very important. And now that goes no different from an AI system standpoint. So I think there's got to be a lot of user feedback coming into the system to make the system more relevant and useful as well. Lastly, the ethical use of AI, right? I mean, that's a very hot topic from a debate standpoint. How privacy, how bias is avoided, and how fair outcomes are promoted. I think these are things I think has to be very consciously taken into account when we build AI system. Like the world I come from, for example, I mean, we have guiding principles from an AI system implementation standpoint, right? I mean, about fairness, reliability, and safety, privacy and security, inclusiveness and transparency and accountability. So these are some of the guiding principles which we have defined from an AI adoption standpoint. I think every organization or enterprise should come out with guiding principles on what is important for them so that they can measure against these metrics as they start rolling out AI.
Okay, no, thank you very much, Raj. Very, very great insights. So I see Yinghua joining as well. Hello, Yinghua.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
That's
Some technical issues. Good. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Sure, thank you. So, why don't we go to Abdou next? Abdou, if you don't mind, in an AI-driven workplace, what changes should leaders make to their leadership styles, right? And what all we should do that changes, considering what all is going around the world.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. So my name is Abdou. I lead talent management and HR M&A at Nvidia, where we really focus on attracting the best talent and providing them with the right environment to do their life's work. So, as you think about AI, there are lots of studies that talks about the impact of AI in the workspace. One of them, just to cite the Harvard Review studies, talking about 40% of our US work activity can be augmented, automated, or reinvented with Gen AI. So if you really think about that, the question becomes, how do we really prepare our current workforce? Because in our organizations, we have lots of talents that we've already hired, as well as potentially the future workforce. And if you think about the current workforce, at some point, some of them had really what we call hot skills, right? Skills that all companies were trying to look for, and at that time was very important. And with the development of AI, some of those skills are not as relevant as it used to be in the past. So the question becomes, how do you prepare that workforce really to be able to embrace AI, to be able to understand the gap, the differences between what they were supposed to do before and what they are supposed to do now? Basically, the notion of understanding what basically skill set you have within your organization, what's the skill gaps between basically the roles that you used to have and how AI has transformed them. So there's this notion of really with considering what a job is, right? Thinking about how do I deconstruct this notion of job, going from this idea of responsibilities and laundry list of job activities, going back to the basic notion of skills, because what is going to truly matter to be able to adapt and adjust is what are the skill set that I have, and then be able to really assess the skills gap that the organization may have, and think about how do I from there really build a plan to upskill my workforce, right? How do I make sure that we build a really agile environment where our employees can come and learn new skills and grow and stay with the company? And when you think about upskilling, when you think about gaining new skills, it's not just about having access to lots of certifications. And you have to think about how do I build an environment where basically employees can learn on the job as well, right? And that's where I kind of like this idea of marketplace, which is basically how can I build an environment where employees are provided with all the tools that they need to continue to grow, to decide where to go, to decide their career path based on where they are. So there's lots of work that needs to be done. You need to involve employees in the adoption phase of the AI. They need to understand how the AI tools impacting their roles. And therefore, the additional time that they gain thanks to, the AI agents, robotics, whatever new technology they're leveraging, be able to use that time to do other work, right, that the company needs.
No, absolutely. Thank you, Abdou, for those perspectives. It's very clear that, as workplaces evolve, so much our approach to HR, right, embracing these tools not only changes the skill sets required, but also the cultural dynamics within our organizations. Right? It's very crucial that these tools are introduced in a way that supports employees' growth and adapts to their needs. So thank you for that. So moving on, there's another AI generated image. So let's move to the next topic, which is like AI in talent management. Now this has transformed everything from recruitment to employee development. So AI is transforming how companies recruit, develop, and retain talent, right? From streamlining recruitment processes, to reducing bias in hiring decisions. AI offers new opportunities for efficiency and fairness in talent management. So let's spend some time, to explore how AI enables personalized employee development, continuous feedback, and what are the skills required, for the workforce. So now, since Yinghua just joined, why don't you start with her? Yinghua, if you want to spend some time, to talk about what steps are being taken to ensure AI tools in recruitment are unbiased and inclusive. How do we make sure that they lack of the bias in recruitment and talent management?
Well, I think one key step that need to happen to make sure we reduce bias, etc., in AI empowerment is really the data we feed to AI, right? Like if data is like the fuel we feed to the machine. So it's like nurturing a child, right? You feed them what kind of family value the school share with them, what are the social values. These are the values we feed to a child. It's the same like the value, the data we feed to AI. It need to be unbiased. The sample, it need to be right. At the same time, I think we, as a workforce, we really shouldn't be worried about AI is going to take over certain jobs, etc. I always say changes are always something that should be embraced. If you think about 100 years ago, 120 years ago, we went through the Industrial Revolution. Yes, there are jobs getting replaced, right? Like the farming jobs getting a lot of automated. And if you fast forward to like the internet age, there are certain manual, manufacturing job get automated, etc. And and then you fast forward to now, like the AI age. Yes, there will be manual work getting replaced, but we are always replacing it with a more and a robust, more creative work. So this is the area I think like the data and the AI capability can help us to really build out the skill set that is moving us towards the future, right? One area I think about, will be a rising area of job opportunity is, look, can you ask AI the right questions? Now AI is like the encyclopedia, the questions, the universe of knowledge, but it takes the right query to get the right question, the answers out. So those jobs will be boosting out. While the underlying, like just the mechanically memorizing the knowledge, etc., those jobs may be going away. So yes, there's definitely a lot of opportunities for us to fairly use AI, and it does start with the data we feed them.
Certainly, thank you, Yinghua. And I like your analogy about it's what values we give to our children, and while we are helping them grow up, right? That's what it's similar to that, right? It's completely dependent on what kind of data set or sampling that we provide to the system. Thank you for that. Abdou, this might be very close to what you do on a day-to-day basis. Do you mind providing some specific examples where AI has streamlined the recruitment process or in various organizations?
I mean, when you think about AI, and I like the analogy that you gave earlier as well. So it's something that you use to augment your work, right? You have to understand it, etc. If I think about opportunities and what AI, the impact of AI to edit tools, guided tools are providing in the marketplace, in the space of recruiting today. So if you think about recruiting, when you're in this process, you need to have a good understanding of the market, right? Where are the talents that you need? You need to understand the roles that you want to hire for, and you also need to then be able to have a process where you can really review all the applicants, etc. So on the first one, thinking about the first piece, which is what are we looking for, right? What profile? So traditionally, we had these job libraries where you had job descriptions you would just pull and provide and basically post those jobs. Today, in today's world, it's not possible anymore because every time job is evolving, so you have to spend time to go through what are the new skills, right? There are tools that can help you. You can scrub the market, you can scrub data available to help you see how skills are basically evolving and changing, talking about the same job, right? The second piece is market insights, right? So you want to understand where are the talents. So today there are laundry list of applications that can provide you really on-the-spot data, can help you really analyze so that you can know where you can potentially post your jobs and be more efficient, right? And potentially as well manage the budget that you're spending on that. But then when you think about as a recruiter, one of the activities that where you spend lots of time often is screening the data, right? Screening resume. So you have a role, but you have potentially thousands of people who've applied. Where would you potentially have time to do that? So today there are lots of tools in the market that allows you to really do that work for you and really rank those candidates. Now, the one thing that is important in relation with the question you had before, which is around biases, right? So that's where you need to understand as you go through that process, how the system operates, right? What criteria is being used to be able to really rank those employees. And it's very efficient because basically if you understand that and you leverage that tool, you are able to scrub resume for, potentially thousands of candidates that you would not have seen otherwise. And in there, you may have the gem that you're looking for. So there are lots of alternatives, lots of really kind of great tools that recruiters can use in today's era to be able to help. And all those tools are powered by AI. And it also has some components that help reduce biases, right? So people are now more and more conscious about that aspect. And when they are thinking about building their applications, they are also baking that into the code.
Oh, great. Thank you, Abdou. Raj, let's talk about metrics, right? So what kind of metrics are most useful when using AI to predict long-term employee success?
So my answer, we have a chief data officer here in the panel as well, so I'm sure she'll appreciate certain areas I'm going to touch in this area. So for me, metrics could be looked at in a pretty broad way, right? So for me, the first thing which comes to my mind is the privacy aspect of things, right? So how an employer measures an employee and how an employee wants to measure himself or herself to basically measure success, right? So when you talk about AI in general, even without the HR aspect of things, one of the things which it unlocks is there are a lot of data silos in any enterprise, right? I mean, AI actually helps you to unlock some of the value out of these silos because solving the data silos problem is not a new problem. And I think as an industry, we've been trying to address that problem forever. And the systems get more complex, which means more silos. I'm not going to get into that aspect of things. The reason I'm touching that subject is today there is a lot of data which sits in our systems, which you can get insights out of. Like, for example, we have a product called Viva Insights. Like every month, for example, I get an email telling that, okay, this is how many interactions you will had. This is how many times you disturb people after hours by sending them notes. It gives me a lot of information about how I am performing as an individual, right? And that helps me actually to measure myself and makes me a better person, not just a better employee, right? But then when you look at from a long-term employee success, if you ask a developer what is a long-term employee success, I mean, he or she is going to basically say, okay, how fast they can get things done from a development standpoint, whatnot. So AI now is starting to play a role there, right? When you heard about GitHub Copilot, for example, where they want to GitHub Copilot actually makes a developer's life a lot easier from a development standpoint. So that is, for example, a developer success in my view, right? But then when you take a normal employee success, right? There is a lot of data which we generate within an enterprise today from a HR standpoint, right? Either we're doing a self-assessment, or we're doing a 360-degree view of an assessment, or we're probably doing a survey from an enterprise standpoint. Okay, how well is our employer performing, for example? So there are a lot of this data which is sit there. So you could get metrics out of that to basically measure, okay, how connected an employee is with an employer, because that I think plays a big role as well when you want to measure employee success. Similarly, when you look at, I'm sure every organization has got its own way of measuring an employee's performance, whether it's on a quarterly basis, half yearly, yearly, doesn't matter. You could now actually look at, okay, how is the employee trending? And again, I'm emphasizing this again. There's the privacy part of it here as well. Some of them could be self-assessment as well, where now the tools can be provided for a person to self-assess them on a year-over-year basis as well. So this goes back to the first thing I started off, right? Data exists. I think AI will basically unlock some of the value and provide insights, first to the employees themselves, than to the employer as well from a HR standpoint. I don't want it to be looked at as a policing aspect. That's the reason Ajay was telling metric could be looked at in multiple forms and fashion in this regard.
Yes, no, absolutely. Thank you very Raj. No, fascinating insights, right? Thank you all. AI's role in personalizing and enhancing the recruitment and development processes highlights its value in identifying and nurturing the talent that we have very efficiently, right? And whatever used to take several weeks and several months, now it's like so fast, right? You can get decisions like immediately, within an hour or within a day, right? So this shows like how fast we are moving, right? So having said that, let's move on to our next topic, which is like strategic decision making with AI, right? Where the ability to anticipate and adapt becomes a very competitive edge, right? So incorporating AI into strategic decision making gives all the organizations a very competitive edge. It's no more a secret, right? So the predictive capabilities that comes with the AI, they allow the organizations to anticipate the needs, right? What kind of people, what skill set, forecast the shortages. Okay, there is a new project coming up. We might have a lot of people there, so we need there, and plan for the future shifts in the market, right? Suddenly there's new technology going to come up, right? So this topic is going to address how AI empowers HR teams to make data-driven decisions, right? Regarding planning, retention, and development. Ultimately enhancing the overall agility of the organization. So let's start with you, right? How is AI being used in predictive workforce planning? What are your thoughts on that?
I think workforce planning is definitely a very broad topic. I think when I think about AI in this space, the way it changes us, the way we work is not just automating manual tasks. Okay, then we have clear KPIs, KRIs, KQIs, any metrics. It will be, yes, the numbers, the metrics will be coming to us. Information will be coming to us a lot faster. I think the way AI is changing the way we work is the interaction model. For example, right, traditionally, when we are thinking about managing employees, it's always like top down. You have a manager, you have a bunch of employees, and then you measure their performance. You have a quarterly review cycle, mid-year review cycle, year-end review cycle. You discuss the comp, you do this and that, right? And that is a cycle. But with a lot of these AI-enabled tools, the feedback loop can be two ways. It doesn't have to be top down. Sometimes it will be bottom up. Like the engagement survey results, right? How influential the leader is in the organization, right? How many women is getting promoted this year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like it become a two-way workforce planning and engagement model rather than just management looking at how do I go ahead and make the team more productive. It's also, hey, am I following the right leader and the right organization to achieve my personal aspiration for my own development goals and career? So it is, on one hand, it is what's in for the organization from a management perspective, and from bottom up perspective, it becomes what's in for me from an employee perspective. I hope that helps.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great thought. Thank you, Yinghua. Raj, why don't we, focus on the second topic about retention, right? How can organization identify patterns in employee engagement and predict risks and interventions, right? Specifically for some top talent within the organization. How can we use AI in that area?
Sure. I'd like to start off with a recent survey that Accenture did, where they found 58% of the employees who experienced a very personalized employee experience with the employer reported higher job satisfaction. Right. The reason I'm trying to highlight that is AI. I think from a HR standpoint, I think there's going to be a lot of tools which will increase that employee experience, whether it's an onboarding or throughout their journey within an employer. And that will have a very direct impact here from a job satisfaction standpoint. Because if we look at from a turnover standpoint, job satisfaction plays a very big role when somebody wants to move on, right? The other thing I also wanted, out of my personal experience in my past life, not in my current life, I used to actually force my managers in my team to report to me when was the last time they had a coffee with someone and what was the observation, right? And I used to call it like a touch point tracker is basically what I want to do, or what I would call it, right? The intention here is to basically identify hotspots within the talent pool so that you can be proactive about predicting flight risks, right? Because I'm sure all of us are managers here and we all look at flight risk candidates within our talent pool so that we are more proactive to go and connect with people better. Because there's always going to be a lack of time, but that's not a good excuse if you cannot connect with your employees, is my personal take. So now with AI and from a tool standpoint, I think we can get early visibility rather than putting together a tracker and then looking at multiple ways of looking at how happy a person is. I think now tools can be basically leveraged for that as well. Again, with the context of taking into account privacy in a big way. Again, I don't want this to be considered policing or anything like that. All I'm saying is the data which we have today in disparate systems, I think AI can essentially at least help us come out with those flight risk target employees so that we can actually try to understand what is going on in their lives, right? Because talent retention is a very big challenge. The market, even right now, the market is expected, people think the market is a little bit of a sluggish market, and it's more an employer market and not an employee market. I wouldn't agree completely to that, because talent is talent and you wouldn't want to lose your talent, and there's always a challenge to get the right talent. I think Abdou put it in a nice way with the way Nvidia is going. There's always need for good talent, right? So which means you don't want to lose your top talent as well. So I think getting insights, again, I'm going back to my data-driven decision making and insights. I think AI will essentially give us a good indication of how healthy our organization is so that we can plan retention much better.
Yeah. Ajay, if I may, just maybe on this topic, right? So I like the idea of AI with all these tools, all the data that we can get from it, right? So I tend to say more data informed versus data driven decision, right? Because I think all these data, right, all these tools that we have that makes our life easy on a day-to-day basis to have potentially more data point to gather information is just something that we need to use, right, to be able to drive retention, to drive relationship with these employees. I want to put something back here, which is no matter what tool we have, we are talking about talents that we're managing, and the relationship matters. I think I would hate to get people to understand. And, I have all these tools that can grab me all this data and do all this analysis for me, and I should be good to know who's at fly risk. I think people leaders in their role should still have a good connection with their employees. They need to understand what their expectations are, what they are looking for, where they are in their career. And in this topic, often when you talk about, sometimes people leaders about this, they are talking about feedback, right? Because they work often with their team and they give on-the-spot feedback. But the employees are expecting something more than on-the-spot feedback, because on-the-spot feedback is just feedback you're giving me on a project that I'm working on right now. But I want at some point to be able to sit with my manager to talk about my career at large. So I just want to position things as well, just, to make sure that people don't lose sight of the connection that is required between people managers and their employees.
Absolutely. This is a great point, Abdou, and I was going to bring you in. And while we talked about retention, right, how do you identify leaders, right? This is the third topic on the screen, right? For a company like Nvidia or any large organization today, right? And how do they use AI to identify leaders, and not only identify, develop them into potential leaders, right? Any thoughts on that?
Well, different things, right? So for me, once again, you can use AI tools, right, to give you data points around the performance of these leaders, the interactions they have, the engagement level of their teams, etc., and be able to kind of have an idea, right? But ultimately, for me, you can also do some other things, right? You can build leader profiles, right? You can think about the pattern of your top leaders, right? What's their track record of performance, their career trajectory, etc., and be able to say, well, this can be a baseline that I can, look at my rest of the employee population and see who's closer to this. Now, the downside of that is you're basically deciding that to become a leader, you just have this way, this path, right? And I think in today's world, with the work that is changing all the time, with the roles and responsibility, you want to build an environment where, with lots of agility, right, where employees can explore different things, and where you also can keep developing them. And one of the things I think we have to more and more think about when we talk about leadership, succession, etc., instead of saying, I have this employee, he's great, he has 2 people under him, those people may be, the successors. You have to think broadly. You have to think about how you can develop the pool of talent below, right? So therefore, thinking about what type of trainings, where people are in their career path. And then that's why I like this notion, and I always come back to that, of marketplace, right? Where you can really have a good understanding of people's, your employee skills. You can have a good understanding of what they've worked on internally, but as well as what their career aspiration. And then if you put that in front of what the company's new business is, what the company is developing, and what the company needs are, it really helps you build a plan across the organization for the different employees, because everybody has a different path and everybody may have different needs in terms of growth as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is fantastic, Abdul, right? And if I'm hearing it right, I mean, the organizations needs to use more proactive management strategies rather than reactive, right? So that's where the use of AI predictive capabilities in leadership development or employee retention are being used across all organizations right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The last topic, let's talk about ethical considerations. In talent management. While AI offers significant benefits, it also raises important ethical questions. And Raj, you briefly discussed on this in the beginning. Let's delve into the challenges organizations face in ensuring that AI-driven decisions are transparent, fair, and compliant with privacy regulations, right? And balancing these insights with human intuition and protecting employee data and maintaining accountability are key considerations in several organizations today while they decide or make decisions to deploy AI responsibility, and not in talent management only, like across the organizations. So Raj, why don't we start with you? How do we balance these insights with human intuitions to ensure ethical decision making?
So with the topic of this discussion around HR, right? So the HR function within any organization is in the people business, right? I think I briefly mentioned when we started this discussion about some of the guiding principles we have when it comes to AI efforts, right? I mean, we have 6 guiding principles. I think I briefly mentioned about fairness, reliability and safety, privacy and security, inclusiveness and transparency and accountability. The reason I'm highlighting this again is, I think first every organization has got to define their value system, right? I mean, all of them have their value system, but now if you throw AI in the mix, how are they going to basically make sure their value system is intact? So that is something I think very, very important for every organization. So now as they start building AI systems, specifically in this space, right? I think there's got to be periodic audit. I mean, there are a lot of ways that you'd heard about the word red teaming, for example, in certain aspects of technology. But I think there's got to be periodic audits of these systems if the outputs or outcomes of the systems aligns with your core value system. So I think that is something, an ongoing thing, which I think every organization has got to do so that it aligns with their overall thing. I mean, whether it's in recruiting, talent management, or employee experience management, I mean, the HR does a lot of things, and I think that's very important. To close, more importantly, I think Ajay, you wanted to talk about the human element here. The way I would put it is, I mean, I'm not trying to sound salesy here. We have co-pilots, right? I'm going to use co-pilot here in a different way here, right? There is a reason we're calling it a co-pilot and not autopilot, right? So people have to realize it's a co-pilot and there is a human in the loop, particularly in a HR function. Absolutely, there has got to be that. I think Abdou touched in a very nice way about that human connection. That human connection cannot be lost just because we have a nice chatbot which we can interact with, which gives us answers. Of course, the chatbot is a decision support system, helps us basically do things. But on the flip side, I think that human in the loop and not forgetting it's a co-pilot is very, very important.
Good. Thank you very much, Raj. And moving on to Yinghua, and this is something, Yinghua, that you might be doing on a day-to-day basis, right? So what are some of the challenges and solutions when we are using AI in talent management, especially to make sure we are within compliance, right? Or, we are not playing around with the data privacy issues.
Well, it will take us a while to figure out the regulations around AI, but it's just a matter of time, right? There is already robust regulations across the world on data, and AI governance is just yet to come with a lot of consideration of these ethics that we are talking about. I think when just applying the current methodology of data governance, for example, we have first line control, second line control, third line control, right? Raj mentioned about audit, frequent audit. In my view, that is third line control. We also need to continuously think about what are the first line controls we need to put in place to make sure these AI model is generating the right results. We're feeding them with the right data sets, etc. Right? As I mentioned at the very beginning of this call, I think some of the jobs may be automated, but AI testing is something I think it will flourish in this era again, right? Like we need relentless testing to make sure the output of AI is within our expectation, and that is aligned with our corporate value, per Raj's point. Second line defense is usually risk compliance department. It's about the surveillance of the results. How do we want to do real-time surveillance, or do we want to build a risk culture? That is really up to each organization's maturity. But this is how I would look at the regulations or the overall control environment evolve from an AI perspective.
Oh, absolutely. Great thoughts over there, right? I mean, it's very important, especially nowadays when we are so close to about governance and regulations, right? So it's much more important for us to make sure that we are doing the right thing. Abdou, transparency is key in all our applications that uses AI. What are some of your thoughts on how to maintain this within your teams and candidates?
Yeah, I think when you're really introducing a new application in your landscape, right? So there is a reason, there is a rationale. I think it is very important at the beginning to really be able to explain the why. Why are we using this tool, and what is this tool going to provide? Because ultimately you're going to either capture data from the employees, or the employees would have to use it, and they need to understand why are they using this tool and what's in it for them. So there's really a case for change that you need to build to really justify why you're putting in place this application, make sure that employees understand what's in it for them as well, because you want them to be able to leverage the data. If you're transparent and, you know, if you think about applications that you can use today, and there are lots of them, to really infer learning content, to infer job opportunities, etc. If you're crystal clear with your employees about what are the criteria and how can you leverage the platform, I think that would really help them be really supportive of the tool and understand why they have to use it. And the transparency would go a long way with that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And you're right, ethics is as crucial as the functionality of these applications, right? So transparency, fairness, and compliance are no more optional. You know, they are mandatory to maintain trust and integrity within our systems. And now more than ever, right? Because now governments and organizations all around the world, they are talking about regulations and making sure how things, you know, will work out in future, right? So it's much more important to maintain this fairness and compliance. No, thank you. Great thoughts. With that, you know, why don't we open up for Q&A from the audience, right? Kathy, do we have anything in the question, or, you know, if not, then, you know, I do request audience to reach out, either they can or ask.
Yes, please post your comments in the Q&A. I don't have anything as of yet.
Fantastic. No.
Yeah. Ajay, maybe while we're waiting for a few questions. So, you know, I know in your questions, we talk a lot about data-driven, right? Data-driven decisions. And I think that's an important aspect, right? Because I don't want people to assume that, you know, when we work in this HR space, people just apply whatever the tool is giving them as an information. So that's why I like this idea of data-assisted decision, right? Because basically what it means, I'm leveraging the applications, I'm leveraging the data that I'm getting from it to be able to make a determination, make a decision. And I think it's really crucial, because that's also part of, you know, giving that explanation is important as well if you want a strong adoption, because people would feel more comfortable, because there are some contextual information that your AI tool may have not captured.
No, absolutely. No, great points. Yinghua or Raj, you want to add on something on that?
I think it's a really good point there. I think, you know, continue to reflect and learn from what we adopt, and really apply the ABC methodology, right? A is you need to align the AI value to our human value, corporate value. B is be brave, just do it. And the C is be cautious and have that risk and ethical consideration mindset always bearing in mind. And, you know, this is an era we need to learn to embrace, not to just shine away.
Yeah.
To add to both what Yinghua and Abdou highlighted, the most critical function in any organization is the HR function, right? Because it deals with the complete life cycle of an employee, right? Right from hiring to and managing them throughout that. And there's always going to be a constraint on how much HR personnel can spend time, because I mean, if you look at the ratio of the people in a HR department versus the employees, so I think AI will make their lives and the employees' life better. It's not a replacement, particularly in this space. It can provide a lot of value by providing insights, and I go back to what Abdul said: it's data-based or data-driven. So that there is a fine line there. So I think it'll add a lot more value, but rather than, I don't think people should look at this is going to replace the human element here, and then we're going to deal with bots and tools to perform the HR function.
Absolutely. And like what Yinghua was saying, right? Right now is the time to embrace, right? Not shy away. Otherwise, you know, you'll be left behind, right? So thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay. All right. So here we have a question here, right? To all the panelists, like how should, as an employee, how should they do, or what they should do now to prevent them from replacing by AI, right? This is a question which is being asked by almost everyone who is in the industry today, right? What they should do to prevent them by being replaced, right? So, Abdou, do you want to talk on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think in this new era, right, it's very difficult to predict how jobs going to change, what's coming next, which activities can be automated or not, because as we always hear on the news, the AI capabilities are changing every day. So I think it is very important, to have some of the soft skills we are talking about all the time. Be empathic, right? Have critical thinking, innovation. But the other piece I would say, you have to be in this constant learning mode, right? Because things are going to evolve, things are going to change. You have to embrace this change. You have to learn new activities and new skills, right? That's the only way you can stay relevant. So agility and desire, eagerness to learn is more critical right now than any in the past. So that's why I always say, as an organization, you have a duty to create that environment where basically your employees can learn, can grow, because that's all the only way they can really operate and continue to be efficient and valuable to the organization as new AI tools are embraced, jobs are changing. So that's why I always come back to this idea of really building a marketplace because when we often talk about learning, people think about certification once again, going to classes, etc. But there's on-the-job learning, right? If you think about a marketplace as, a means to provide all the tools that your employees need to continue to grow, to learn new skills, you can learn them through your learning applications. You can also learn them through gig work assignment, right? Project, skill mentoring. And the benefits today in this environment with all the AI tools we have is you can have a tool that can infer content to you based on your profile, based on your growth pattern, what you desire, where you want to go, right? So you can have all these tools that can provide you with, infer you with content, can provide you with more visibility on project assignment that may exist in the organization that you can take. So that's why I always say, when you think about a job in the past, you had these job descriptions, you were hired to do X, Y, Z. Today, I think you have to be ready to do something completely different than what was in your job description. And you have to learn these skills, you have to be agile and to be able to adopt change.
Right, absolutely. Raj, you want to add on that?
So I think Abdou summarized in a nice way, right? So there is a lot of concern and fear out in the market that AI is going to take over everything, right? So I'll just add my perspective here. So one is, after COVID, right? COVID actually stress tested a lot of our systems, right? In all aspects. And one of the things which you would have heard about is how can we get done more with less, right? So I think this is way before the last couple of years when Gen AI has been the talk. So I think AI is here to meet some of those objectives. How can we get more with less? By increasing the productivity. I think the focus has got to be on that. Of course, I agree with Abdou. There are going to be certain walks which will probably where people have to basically upgrade the skills to keep up with the transformation which is happening in all forms of life. That will be my advice, to basically keep up with the skill set, right? And that's not new. To be honest with you, I mean, all along, if you look at it, I mean, from an evolution standpoint, right? When internet became big, it actually spurred a lot of new things, while of course making sure some of the things were questioned as well. And I think we're going through the same thing. This will actually create a lot more opportunities for people to look at. And for that, we have to be up to speed on what is happening out there from a skill set standpoint. So I think that's where I would focus, rather than just focusing on how many jobs it's going to take. And I'll also focus on the productivity this is going to bring.
Yeah, absolutely. Yinghua?
Yeah, I think Abdul and Raj summarized it really well. One thing I just wanted to opine on is really, in this era of AI, I think we just need to learn to ride with it, right? From my personal experience perspective, every time there's new disruptive technology, there's actually more opportunities than the disruptions that it's causing. I always tell my my staff and my friends how I grow in my career. I started as an accountant doing debits and credits. And as the system evolved, I figured out, oh, there's ways actually working myself out of this month-end endless cycle. So I learned to automate the job. And the more I work with the IT department, the more coding I learned, the more I geared myself towards technology. And now it evolved into the data role, right? So I think learn AI, learn to use it, learn to interact with it, and learn to embrace it. It will and marry it with existing knowledge, existing skills that you have. It will all of a sudden open a lot of different doors that you don't even realize.
And I would say, Ajay, there, right? So just be curious, work with others, collaborate across functions, and if you have time, raise your hand and go help others, right? That's how you learn more about the other roles that may be available and give you more options as well, and learn new skills.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a mindset, right? We need to be prepared to understand that we need to be a student for life, right? It's not that, we don't want to learn anything. So you have to always keep your eyes and ears open and be like, open to learn things, right? So as far as you are a student for life, nothing's going to change. You always, one thing goes off, you go to another one, right? So that's what is life, right? So thank you. I don't see any questions. So with that, I just wanted to thank all the panelists and everyone here for your active participation in this discussion. And with that, let me hand it back to Dr. Zhang. Dr. Zhang, do you want to wrap up and close out?
Yeah, thank you, Ajay, and thank you, Yinghua, thank you, Rajesh, Abdou, and I think this is a great event, and I personally learned a lot. I think all of the audience have already learned dramatically as well. And one of the very promising or encouraging messages I learned from the discussion is that at least we do not see imminent replacement by the AI for most of people's job, right? And during this process, apparently we can continue to enhance our the learning, and especially as what Rajesh and Abdou mentioned, that we can actually emphasize on the building the relationship, which is not, I think it's more of like a sensational touch. This is a great thing. And again, I would like to actually thank everyone to come over and joining this CFA Society of Chicago's AI event. And together, this event cannot be possible without the support from all of the CFA executive team, management team, and staff, especially Kathy, Chris, and EAG chair and co-chair on behind the scene, and this is a great thing. And I would actually like everyone to continue to follow us on CFA LinkedIn website and also podcast to watch this video, just in case that we might actually post more information. And I think that's pretty much all I want to say. Kathy, is there anything that you want to add?
I really loved this event. I learned a lot myself. And I especially want to walk away with saying everyone should be a student for life. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Bye.